so loud every time. For some reason, that's just, it's so abrasive. Anyway, I do record these for the YouTube channel. So if there's anything we discuss that you would like to revisit later, or people on the TikTok would like to go see, if you missed a part, those are all on the YouTube page. I've missed just a couple of them, but this one will definitely be up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are discussing, oh, I didn't think about the blurred background in the book. We're discussing Tell Me Everything by Erica Krause. This is part memoir, part true crime. It is a very interesting novel, and I am very curious as to what people have to say about it. For those of you on TikTok, and I guess in the Zoom, even if you guys aren't familiar with what this is about, I can go ahead and read the synopsis very quick for you. Let's see, I love. So yeah, part memoir and part literary true crime, which is an interesting literary true crime. That's very interesting. Tell Me Everything is the mesmerizing story of a landmark sexual assault investigation and the female private investigator who helped crack it open. So Erica Krause is one of those faces. I don't know why I'm telling you this, people say, spilling confessions. In fall 2002, Erica accepts a new contract job investigating lawsuits as a private investigator. The role seems perfect for her, but she quickly realizes she has no idea what she's doing. Then a lawyer named Grayson assigns her to investigate a sexual assault, a college student who was attacked by football players and recruits at a party a year earlier. TikTok, please don't take this down after everything I'm saying. Erica knows she should turn the assignment down. Her own history with sexual violence makes it all too personal, but she takes the job anyway, inspired by Grayson's conviction that he could help change things forever, and maybe she could too. Over the next 5 years, Erica learns everything she can about PI technique, tracking down witnesses, and investigating a culture of sexual assault and harassment ingrained in the university's football program. But as the investigation grows into a national scandal and historic civil rights case, Erica finds herself increasingly consumed. When the case and her life both implode at the same time, Erica must figure out how to help win the case without losing herself. If you haven't read this yet, I personally highly recommend it. I definitely suggest checking pretty much every trigger warning under the sun with this book, and prepare to be violently angry by the end of it. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say. For starters, let's I know a lot of you guys have been here before, so I didn't really feel like running through the housekeeping rules, but as it goes, if there's something that somebody says that you disagree with, definitely want to hear your disagreements. Let's just always keep the conversation civil, etc., etc. You know how that goes. Because I do think that there's going to be a couple of differing opinions on this book. Reading through some of the Goodreads reviews, I definitely saw that some people had some issues with it, and I'm very curious if anybody here does as well, because I definitely, even as somebody who did enjoy this book, I can definitely see both sides. It's one of those books. You ever read one of those books where you're like, I totally get where the 5 stars are coming from, and I totally get where the 1 stars are coming from. So, did anybody here absolutely hate it? Hate it. Okay. Awesome. So who wants to share their thoughts first? Kind of give us an overall rating, however you rate books, if you rate books, kind of what you liked about it, what worked for you, etc., etc. Anybody want to go? And of course, if you would like to chat while somebody else is talking, you can always do the reactions and stick up a raised hand emoji and talk that way. I'm going to also mute my computer because I keep getting emails. Okay, there we go. All right, Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Hi. I really liked it. I just finished it maybe like an hour ago.
Nice.
Because I listened to the audiobook version. So I really liked it. I liked that it wasn't really I was going into it thinking it was going to be a story about the rape case, and it kind of was, but it was more about her and her personal experiences as she was reaching a new career in her life or whatever. And I really liked that a lot. I thought it was really fascinating to because I live in a college town, a party town, so I know a lot about like Title IX and college and like the things that happen there. So I didn't really need a refresher on that. It was really fascinating to hear that it was like the first one, and like to hear the backgrounds of it becoming like a Title IX thing.
Mhm.
Um, but I was more fascinated in the more emotional and like humanity like driven aspect of like her specific experience with trauma in her own past and how it affected like finding justice for women um in present times. So
Right. Yeah, I thought that was very powerful, and I thought it really worked as a whole. And I thought her writing too was just really incredible, especially for this, I think, being what? Oh my God. Okay, sorry. We live at a we live next to a campground, and I was hearing some very strange noises, and it's a camper coming in. That made me really nervous. It sounded like an accident at first. Oh, weird. Okay, sorry. Um, where was I? Anybody else thoughts on the book?
I also really enjoyed this book, but it was kind of one of those things where I was like so angry slash taken aback by some of the things that I read that I was like, now I have to keep reading. So like I
Mhm.
loved it. I really liked her writing and everything, but it was just a lot of it was very traumatic. I was like, wait, did that actually really happen? Did somebody really say that? Like some of those things I was like, holy crap, I know this happens in real life, but that was a lot. So
Mhm.
definitely trigger warnings for sure for
yeah.
folks that haven't read it. It was aggressive.
This is definitely, yeah, one of those books where even if you don't think you need them, you're gonna need them. Um, yeah, I annotated a lot of it too, and I a lot of the I need to like make stickers or something because I in the margins will put like a bunch of question marks or exclamation points. And I did that more than any other Morbidly Curious book club book. This was just full of those like, wait, seriously? Like that somebody actually said that? Yeah, same. Completely same. Um, let's see, Michelle.
I really liked it. I thought she did a really good job of going in depth on everything that she researched. I think some of the tangents that she went on were a little distracting. Like her personal story was relevant, but then she would go on those just random other stories that she would tell, and I'd be like, wait a minute, what am I reading? What is happening? But overall, it was enjoyable, and I was wanted to keep reading it, listening to it. I did the audiobook, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I did the audiobook and listened and read along with it. But yeah, that was it jujitsu that she was doing. Um,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I was like, okay. I mean, I can kind of see how this is relevant, but it does some of the part, like, her dating life and I had to remind myself a lot that this is still part memoir. Like I have to, but some I was kind of even though I enjoyed the book, I was very I was kind of in the same boat where I was like, did we need I guess it was almost like a palate cleanser at times maybe because she did do that often. But yeah, I definitely agree. Lauren, dating life.
I think Haley was first. Sorry.
Oh, was
Oh,
she? Oh, my fault. Go ahead, Haley.
oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, yeah, in regards to the dating life, it kept coming up a lot, and I was like, I don't really see, like, yes, I get it's a memoir, but I was like, I don't know if I really care about her dating life portions, but her mom and the parts where she was talking about her mom and her abuser, I just wanted to slap her mom. I
Oh
was
my
like, how
God.
are you saying things like this to your own daughter? Like, oh, well, I'm not coming to your wedding if the person who abused you can't come to your wedding. Like, out of all days, can you just be there for your kid, like, without your abusive partner, please?
Right.
But
Respect my
so
woman.
those yeah, so those parts I was like, okay, that's really relevant to the story because kind of the way her mom reacted was a way that a lot of the other college girls reacted to the women who came out. So just kind of seeing those parallels of, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who will still support the abuser over the person dealing with the abuse. So
Yeah.
that was frustrating.
For sure. And I did get a comment on TikTok that's kind of interesting. I'm so sorry, I don't have my glasses. So your username, Soyson, Yvette, I'm sorry, said, I loved the pieces about JD because her personal story was so traumatic. I wanted her to be happy, which is definitely a good point. And I kind of wish I saw it that way when I was reading it. But that kind of shines it in a little bit of a new light for me. But I think the whole time too, while I was reading about the parts about JD, my brain was immediately on like, okay, how is this person going to be an absolute asshole? Like how is this person going to ruin her life? Because I know it's coming. Lauren.
Actually, I kind of have a different opinion about how her dating life was talked about in the book, because I thought it was like extremely vital to her story, especially in one of those like final scenes where she's remembering a scene that happened in her childhood where she asked X if he loved her, and he said yes, but he was obviously lying, and that became so instrumental into how she perceives love, how she interacts with like people on a day-to-day, and like understands if people are lying or not. It has affected her trust and stuff. So I think all of these little snippets about her personal life with JD are so relevant because it's showing that she has found love that isn't abusive. So I don't know, I liked it. I liked the touches of it. I didn't think it was too much because all of these things kind of amalgamate into her relationship with her mother and the wedding. And if that wouldn't have been a major point if she hadn't found somebody that she wanted to marry, you know?
Good,
So
yeah, great point. And also points on amalgamate. I love that word. I love that. Yeah, and I think I'm really glad that people are kind of bringing that up because I definitely saw it in a perspective that probably wasn't the way that she intended. And it's so interesting too. I think it was Michelle in the chat mentioned Hell in the Heartland again, and I don't know if you guys saw, but I don't know if Ashley's on the live or where she is, but she said in the book club's group chat kind of messages that once she finished Hell in the Heartland, she kind of had a different feeling towards it because of the way it ended. So I love when that happens, when people kind of go into one book club book thinking, well, this may not be for me, or this really isn't working for me, but by the end of it they're like, oh my god, this was awesome. So I'm glad I'm so happy we're having that discussion because that definitely helps me view it in kind of a different light. So yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's see what else. I was gonna bring up X. I really loved the way, and I'm assuming everybody else kind of did too, the way that she portrayed that abuser and didn't even like give him a name. I think it was on the last page in the author's note. She said, to protect the innocent and to protect myself from the guilty, I disguised and changed the names of most of the characters in this memoir. The biggest irony of this book is that I cannot name my abuser, called X here, because he is still alive. Perhaps he doesn't deserve a name. And I thought that was really powerful, and I really like that. Anybody else thoughts? But yeah, that was an agree with Haley and Paige. That was a really great perspective from Lauren. And there's still some people hopping into the meeting. Yeah, love that she didn't give him a name. Oh yeah, the whole author's note at the end, and that's what I love. Noticed a lot of the books that we read have a really great author's note, so I always try and include those in our reading guides because they're typically awesome. Anybody else? Yes, Lauren.
I think oh dang, I had it and I'm losing it. Um,
Damn,
I'll come back to it.
this flame is so huge. Yeah, a lot of this, and I think it was not sure who mentioned it at first, but yeah, a lot of this book was very surprising as far as you know, bringing up the question, did that really happen? Like, there's no way that colleges put like this much, which is, yeah, they do, but they put this much respect and money and just everything towards football. Like, I went to a college where football really wasn't, I mean, they had a team, but it was kind of like the laughing stock of the division. So I never really saw that while I was in school, but I didn't realize how intense it was just in general. Like I couldn't really wrap my head around a lot of the stuff that was happening. Yes, Bridget.
Yeah, speaking of someone who currently lives next to Penn State, it is a
Oh.
huge thing. Like, people who have never stepped foot on campus, never went to college, will still, like, all weekend it's Penn State, Penn State. And I literally live like right next to the college, so we have to like plan our weekends around not going out on football weekends. So it's absolutely believable, 100%, which is sad, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. I also saw some comments and some from reviews about part one, not naming X shows the complexity of speaking up and out. She's clearly come a long way. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure this was incredibly hard for her to write, period. I mean, this is just it. This is definitely one of those memoirs where you feel like she opened up a vein completely and just like told you everything, pun not intended. But it's really incredible. And healing, but there is still influence impact on her present life. Absolutely. That's something that's going to stick with you for a very long time, unfortunately. See now, Lauren, I'm losing my train of thought too. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Well, I remember what I was gonna say.
Go ahead. I can't remember mine.
I kind of wanted to talk about how the case kind of gets shut off and then it gets brought back and there's like this kind of hope again.
Mm.
Even though it ends in a way that I would say was a successful ending, it's definitely anticlimactic. Like, she finds out through a phone call from her friend, you know, like not even really, there isn't this huge fanfare. And I think a lot of sexual assault stories have this like, you should tell everybody, you should get justice, you should do all these things, and it always seems to end in kind of like a
Yeah.
done now. So I think what a like I don't know why I was expecting there to be this huge fanfare thing, because even though I know the MO, I still wanted it to be like, woohoo, they won, you know?
You
And
wanted some sort of justice with it.
exactly. And it just is so fitting that it really is like, her big win is she doesn't get any money because she's hourly paid. She can't help her friend with her financial issues. And there's still like a huge problem in especially American college football. So it's just kind of sad to see like how much progress there was, and we're still like today, like I have to do Title IX I forget the word, but like little tests and stuff at the beginning of every like, semester to say like rape is not okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Interesting too, a lot of the reviews mentioned the how do you pronounce that properly? The being anonymity of the case itself, and her using these pseudonyms obviously to protect the innocent, like she mentions in her author's note. But a lot of people were not upset about it, but and I hate to constantly just like use Goodreads reviews, but it's something to bring up in discussion too, how other people felt about the book. But But a lot of people thought that her using pseudonyms and not outwardly stating what case it was, despite being able to just Google it, was kind of strange. I didn't know what case she was talking about, but I think if people knew her personally, they would know, like, oh, this happened in Colorado, like this, they would put the pieces together. So it's interesting how some authors decide to do that, despite being able to just Google it. Like it's still a it's interesting. Haley.
Yeah, I saw someone in our book clubs, like the message, they posted an article about her using the anonymity. And I was reading it before we jumped on here. And it was essentially saying because of lawyers and law stuff, there were like certain information she couldn't disclose for what the purpose was. But then the article that I wish I remember who put it in our chat, but it essentially said what the case was, who the people were, like the name of the actual name of the coach. So I think it was more so because of laws or things tied into the story that she had to do it that way, is what
Right.
it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that makes the most sense. And, you know, not to bring more legal action towards herself in case she were to,
yeah.
you know, get something incorrect or say somebody's, you know, name, you know, it's, yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of legal stuff behind it. That was actually Ashley, I think it was, who posted, that article, which I think I had read because I took a picture off of it to post on our Instagram, I think. Oh yeah, J News. You know, lawyers. How athletes are protected by the legal system. Yeah, I thought I knew a good amount about Title IX, but going into this, I was like, oh, I definitely don't know as much as I should. Yeah, Krause in the article says the law is so gray. There's not a yes or no about anything in terms of what I could use and what I couldn't. It's very random feeling. We went through a legal review that was very long. Every word was examined. I wasn't used to that. I was used to writing fiction. Oh, that's right. This isn't her debut. This is her debut nonfiction. Right? Debut memoir. Got it. Yeah, I haven't read anything else by her, but I think I definitely would like to because I really did enjoy her writing. Let's see. This was a kind of a straightforward book. There's not too much else to go into. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss from the book? I'm glad everybody liked it though. Yes, Catherine. Hi.
It's so hard to do this on a tablet.
Oh,
One of the things that I thought was really interesting was the way that she acknowledged, she didn't go into detail, and I don't think she probably should have, the politics around the perpetrators being Black and some of the victims also, and feeling one person who doesn't want to report, not wanting to feel like a race traitor. And I was like, that must complicate things even farther. And that's, I think, a level of intersectionality that a lot of us don't, as white women, don't get to really fully understand. And it was interesting the way that she was able, as a white woman, to talk about it, but not really weigh in on it. It just complicated things even more. I couldn't even imagine having another hurdle on top of everything else that you have to deal with when you're, coping with whether or not to report and whether or not to go with a lawsuit or to press charges.
right.
So.
Yeah, because my damn Slack keeps going off. I hope that's not too loud. I've muted all of my, okay, good. Because that's, yeah, you don't want to come off across a certain way, but you also want to make sure that despite everything, people do get justice, you know? So it's I thought she handled that as best as she could. Yeah, I really like this. I actually finished this a couple of months ago, so I was kind of flipping through it before the meeting, and unfortunately I'm kind of forgetting a few things, so that's unfortunate. Maybe I should go back to reading it the month of and finishing an hour before, because that's my specialty. But yeah, I'm very happy that everybody yeah, I'm happy that there's that scene where the author acknowledges the power dynamics between them, and she expresses some remorse towards the way she treated Daisy in their last interaction. Yeah. Yeah, there was one part, I think one of the first interviews she had, she kind of gets a little excited that the girl is like talking. And I think she realizes at first, like, you know, I shouldn't be excited about this, but I kind of am, because I feel like this is one step closer to what we want. But it's so hard to get people to discuss something so traumatic, not knowing the outcome, not knowing how people are going to think about them, not knowing, you know, what's exactly going to happen after discussing it, because there's so many reasons why people don't come forward about these things. And to go up against what I now know is one of the biggest conglomerates, I guess, which is college football. Like, it's basically, it's why would you even try, you know? And it's so unfortunate the way these things are, even with Title IX in place. Like, the way that a lot of these things are handled is just so incorrectly. And I do think there, you know, the passion that she had, it's interesting though. I want to say that she had passion for this job, but at the same time, I don't think in a way she did. Like, I think she liked seeing things come to fruition and having justice and everything like that. But, you know, I think she took on too much weight and realized that this wasn't like for her. This wasn't really like something that she could handle, because it was very traumatic for her just over and over again. It was just a wheel, and she just couldn't really, she wanted to like get out of, escape some things, and she thought maybe that, like, and I'm putting words in her mouth, but you know, she wanted to escape her past, but her job was just like pretty much creating this, like, you know, situation for her all over again. And it was really tough, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm very happy that the general consensus was as well. So anybody else, any last minute things? It's kind of a shorter book club, but it's also just like kind of a cut and dry book. Yes, Bridget.
Yeah, just like totally random, like doesn't really have a lot to do with the rest of the book, but I think the way that you portrayed a lot of the damage that this system does to the players too, like she had that interview with that one guy who couldn't remember the conversation halfway through. It was kind of like sprinkled in there, but the way that the system is failing literally everyone, I thought that was quite a nice touch.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they that's a whole other topic too, when it comes to just football injuries in general, and how messed up people can be from those. Yeah, actually, I forgot about that conversation. I'm gonna start saving the book for the month of. But yeah, I really enjoy this. I'm glad that pretty much everybody else did as well. So we have one book left this year, and it freaking flew by. I'm very, very excited for next month's book. I have not read Lindsay Fitzharris's The Butchering Art, but I've heard wonderful things about it, so I might try and squeeze that one in along with this one, so I can get the full Lindsay Fitzharris experience, because apparently she's wonderful. Reading The Facemaker. This is going to get nasty, and I'm excited. A visionary surgeon's battle to mend the disfigured soldiers of World War I. I can't remember who it was. Somebody at the beginning of book club when I first started it sent me an email, and oh my god, I haven't even opened it to see all the surgical tools. Awesome. Somebody did ask me at the beginning of when I started the book club to put in our kind of club messages, and I've been really slacking on this, and I apologize. I put in our club messages when there is visual representation in the book, like pictures and whatnot. So I will put that on the club messages, but this one does have the center of the book is full of pictures. I don't know how gross they are. Actually, let me look at that before. I know we're the morbidly curious, but some people can get kind of squeamish. There's some creepy pictures in here. Okay, yep. Yeah, lots of surgical photos. So if that's what you're into, definitely grab the physical copy. So yeah, this is entirely about surgeons kind of figuring out ways that they could help soldiers entirely in World War I. And yeah, I haven't read it yet. Very excited to get to it. And then yeah, I'm going to try out the butchering art as well. Last year, I did do a Morbidly Curious holiday gift exchange. I did it very poorly though. I didn't use any websites. I was personally matching people with other people, which I do think worked, but in the end, a lot of people didn't get their packages. A lot of people weren't able to send stuff. So I'm going to try and use a different website, but I do think I'm going to do it again this year. I think I am. And I'm going to use Elster, which was recommended to me after struggling. People are like, hey, you know, there's like websites for this. So I'm going to do that. If people are interested, I will post about that in the club messages as well. I did recently put up a poll on the book club's website if people wanted a Discord. I think there were a good amount of people that said yes, but then there were a couple of people that said no. And I'm really trying to keep the Discord. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I've never used Elster, so fingers, we'll see how it goes. I'm in another book talk. I got invited to one, so hopefully it all works out. But I really want to utilize what book clubs the website has to offer and use the message board as kind of like our place to hold discussion and stuff like that. And there is direct messages on book clubs as well. So I'm trying to keep it all consolidated. I know there's some people who've never used Discord before, so I think I'm just gonna wait for now. And I also don't want like just random people joining the Discord as well. I've had issues with that in the past, and I had to shut it down entirely. So I think for now we're just going to stick with book clubs, but definitely also follow us on Instagram if you guys haven't already. It's just the Morbidly Curious Book Club, where I try and post pictures of the books that we're reading along with, you know, the reading guides. And yeah, I know there was something else I wanted to add. Give me a second. Oh, and then I'm really excited because last year we started in October. So we only read 2 books in 2021, but in 2022, we have of course read a book a month, and I'm going to put up a poll for everybody's Morbidly Curious 2022 favorite, which I'm so excited to see what people say. And please note that the discussion for the December book is in January, because I am gone pretty much after Christmas is when my family takes the vacations, and I don't come back until early January. So I think it's the 6th. So check the meetings tab for that. Every December book, for however long this goes, it'll be discussed in January. And speaking of January, we did have another poll to kind of figure out what we're reading in early 2023. I've mentioned it before because some people have asked, like, why do we have February of 2023 picked already when it's November? Well, that's because I want to make sure that people are prepared and are able to put holds at the library if they need to, and purchase the books or save up for the books, whatever, put their holds in on Libby. So I do have January and February picked up. I can grab those books. I forgot to pull those out. I did post a picture about it on the club's meeting, so you might have seen that already. Got notification. Okay. So. 2 things that have been staring at me on my shelves for a couple months now. January, we are reading All the Living and the Dead. Oh yeah, taking advantage of the 2 for 3 sales, Target and Amazon. That too. Stock up on your Morbidly Curious books. This is by Haley Campbell. This came out this year. This is From Embalmers to Executioners, an exploration of the people who have made death their life's work. So we're starting off the new year with death. And in February, we are reading Dead Mountain. I cannot say this author's name. Donnie Eichar. E-I-C-H-A-R. This is about the people who died on the Dyatlov Pass. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident. And this definitely is interspersed, is that the right word, with pictures as well. I don't know if this is. I need to be better about that. No pictures, nothing in this one but words. So yeah, we're all ready for that. That is of course on the club messages as well, and I can post about it on Instagram. And future books are all posted. I know, I can't wait for it. I've had this for so long and I just haven't read it. And you guys voted. This was what came in second. So very excited to read this. And I went off on a absolute tangent the other day about this to Chris because he hadn't heard of it. And I felt like a very bad, morbidly curious girlfriend. So yeah, I'll be posting about it, and future meetings, if you ever want to know kind of what book is coming up next or what date and time, I put everything in the meetings tab, and then that way you can see kind of the upcoming books. And I will also make TikTok videos about it because I don't shut up about the Morbidly Curious Book Club. I love this so much. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. One thing that I did want to try and implement at the end of book club meetings is a palate cleanser of sorts. Because I realized sometimes we just kind of end meetings on like some really devastating topics. So if you want to hang out, you totally can. I'm going to continue to be live on TikTok and just talk about like, you know, books I've been reading, books and that aren't morbidly curious, or just whatever else, TV shows, movies, anything else we're kind of consuming at the moment. But you're welcome to leave if you want to. Go ahead and head out. It's been about 45 minutes and I'm going to stop the recording here. But I wanted to start doing like a little discussion at the end of it, because I think it was a couple months ago where we kind of ended on like a sadder note. Hi, Muggle Matt, how are you? And I was like, maybe I should have done like a palate cleanser or something. So I'm going to stop the recording here.